will be free. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Who's free? Who's free? Who's free? You're committing genocide! Israel, you can't hide! You're committing genocide! Israel, you can't hide! You're committing genocide! Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, we know you! You imprison children too! Israel, we know you! You imprison children too! Israel, you can't hide! You're committing genocide! Israel, you can't hide! You're committing genocide! Israel, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! Israel, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide!
How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today? Israel, what do you say? How many kids did you kill today?
Please, leave 512, Westwood Local, making all stops to Westwood. From the lower level, zone number 111. 512, Westwood Local, making all stops to Westwood. Depart from the lower level, contract number 111.
Because of Israel. Mayor Fane on this picture, let's take one of these. Mayor Fane over here was a 29-year-old mother from Abu Dis who was killed by Israel, taken away from her daughter. But not only did they didn't stop by killing her. Not only did they murder her in cold blood, now they won't even give her body back to her family so that they can bury her.
the most basic right to say goodbye. We know that this is a war crime. We know that this is against international law. But we know that the Zionist state has never been held accountable to international law. And we know bodies that talk about international law are the same bodies that are responsible for the colonization of Palestine. So we will never get justice from them. So how do we fight for justice? For people like me, for people like Ahmad Arakat, who was killed just days before his wedding day. It's been over a year since he's been killed, and his family still cannot get to his body. His family still cannot bury him, because even in death, Palestinian bodies are used as bargaining chips by the Zionist state. And that's why we're out here today, because the Zionist occupation not only kills Palestinians with impunity, but it also withholds the bodies of the dead and prevents Palestinians from burying their loved ones. Today is the International Day. On the 27th, and this whole weekend has been an international weekend of action to support the campaign for the retrieval of martyrs' bodies. In Palestine, some parents have been waiting for over 4 decades. 4 decades to get back the remains of their loved ones from Israel's cemetery of numbers, where the remains of 254 Palestinians languish in cruel and dehumanizing conditions. Israeli occupation authorities also continue to hold 81 deceased Palestinians as hostages, turning their dead bodies into bargaining chips. We want to make sure everybody hears us, so can we do a mic check? Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
Repeat after me. In Palestine, some parents have been waiting
So the parents have been waiting
for 4 decades
for 4 decades
to get back the remains
to get back the remains
of their loved ones
of their loved ones
from Israel's cemetery of numbers,
from the Israel cemetery of numbers,
where the remains
where the remains
of 254
254
Palestinians languish in cruel
languish in cruel
and dehumanizing conditions.
and dehumanizing conditions.
Israeli occupation authorities
Israeli occupation authorities
continue to hold
continue to hold
81 deceased Palestinians
81 deceased Palestinians
as hostages,
turning
their dead bodies into bargaining chips.
into bargaining chips.
In the Israeli cemetery of numbers,
The Israeli cemetery of numbers.
the remains of hundreds of Palestinians
Hundreds of Palestinians
have been dumped
dumped
in demeaning conditions in mass graves.
in mass graves.
And since 2016,
2016,
Israel has refused to return the bodies of 6 Palestinian prisoners who died while they were imprisoned,
died while they were in prison.
as if years of unjust imprisonment,
Years of unjust imprisonment,
medical neglect,
medical neglect,
and ill treatment
and ill treatment
were not enough.
was not enough.
In March 2018,
In March 2018,
the Israeli parliament
the Israeli parliament
enacted a law
enacted a law
that limits the number of mourners
that limits the number of mourners
funerals. Just as it seeks to control every aspect of Palestinian life. Israel controls the most intimate details of Palestinian death. Too. In September 2019, Israel's top court decided that using dead Palestinians as bargaining chips is so-called constitutional. But we know there's no justice under colonialism. The Israeli practice of humiliating and withholding Palestinian bodies is a war crime. Ongoing silence is complicity. These are the scenes that Palestinians have to witness every day. Many Palestinian families cannot even bury their loved ones. There are 6 minors whose bodies are being held by the Zionist occupation, preventing parents from laying their children to rest. In Palestine, they created the hashtag Return Our Children. I want you all to remember that. To post about that. Because not only do they kill Palestinian children, they hold their bodies for years. So today, we stand with Palestine. From Gaza to Nablus. And we declare unequivocal solidarity with the Palestinian people and the families of martyrs on the national day of the retrieval of martyrs' bodies. And we will not be quiet. We will not stop. And we will continue to fight. Until Palestinian families can bury their loved ones. Can live free of occupation. Can live free of genocide. And can live free of colonization. And until every inch of Palestine is liberated from the river to the sea. Remember, use the hashtag Free Our Martyrs, Return Our Children, and Honor Our Martyrs. We cannot only uplift Palestinians when we hear about them getting killed in the news. They are killed every day, and it's not in the news. And after they kill us, they torture our families for decades. Whether it's demolishing their homes, or whether it's forcing them to live without the closure of getting to bury their loved ones who were martyred by the Zionist occupation. So when we say globalize the Intifada, that's what it means to honor the martyrs of Palestine. Because their struggle, their fight did not go in vain. And not only do we honor our martyrs by fighting for them, by fighting for their families, but by fighting for a free Palestine. Because it is in that name that they were killed. For being Palestinian, Entire neighborhoods that get carpet bombed.
First stop, Stafford, beginning service at Stafford for remaining.
Or whether it's Palestinians who are getting killed while they're mourning another Palestinian child who got killed, like we saw last week. We will make their stories known. We will make their stories heard. And we will let Palestine know that we stand with them every single day. Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
If you don't have one, you can come get one here. And when I say their name, I want you to hold that photo up so people can look at it. And I want you to repeat after me. Because we want to let their families know that they haven't been forgotten. That there are people here who are fighting for them. Amjad Husseiniya. You can see his photo right here. 22 years old from Jenin. He was shot and killed on August 16th. Say his name, Amjad Husseiniya. May Afghanin. Say their names. May Afghanin. She was a mother, a PhD student, and a teacher. She was shot and killed by occupation forces on June 16th while driving north of Al-Quds. Zuhdi Al-Tawil. This is his photo right here. 17 years old from Al-Quds. He was shot and killed on May 24th by occupation forces in Sheikh Jarrah. His body has been held hostage by Israel for over 97 days. We have Wafa Baladi. Can you please hold that up? Wafa Baladi, her photo is right here. 37 years old from Al Khalid. She's a mother of 6 who was shot and killed by a Zionist settler on May 19th in the West Bank after the IOF blocked ambulances from reaching her. Not only did they shoot her, not only did they shoot her, they didn't even allow an ambulance to go and help her. Her body has been held hostage for over 92 days. Next we have Shahid Abu Khadija.
First stop,
Who has that one? Shahid Abu Khadija was 41 years old from Kafr Aqab. He was shot and killed on May 6th. His body has been held hostage for 115 days. We have Abdullah Muhammad Harb Rayan. His photo's right here. Please hold it up so people can see it. 17 years old. He's from Qarawat Bani Hassan. He was shot and killed on January 26th by occupation forces, making him the first Palestinian child to be killed by Israel in 2021. His body has been held hostage by Israel for over 215 days. Next we have Kamal Abu Walid, 46 years old from Qabatiyya. He was a political prisoner and a cancer patient who was jailed in 2003 and murdered in November 2020 by way of medical neglect. His body has been held hostage for over 292 days. Next we have Samir Hamidi. Hold his photo up, yes. Thank you. Samir Hamidi is 27 years old from Bedford. He was shot and killed by occupation forces on October 5th, 2020 at a checkpoint in the West Bank, east of Bulgaria. His body has been held hostage by Israel for over 328 days. Next we have Ashraf Halassan, 30 years old from Al-Quds. He was shot and killed by occupation forces on August 17, 2020 in Al-Quds, and then they prevented medical care from reaching him, as we have heard over and over again. His body has been held hostage by Zionist forces for over 377 days. Next we have Ahmed Arakat. His photo is right there. 27 years old from Abu Dis. He was shot and killed by Israeli occupation forces on June 23rd, 2020 at a checkpoint in the West Bank on his sister's wedding day. His body has been held hostage for over 432 days by Israel. Next we have Fadi Sarhan. I don't know if anyone has his photo. Fadi Adnan Sarhan Samara. He was 37 years old, killed by occupation forces on May 29, 2020. His body has been held hostage for over 456 days. Next we have Islam Zahder right there. Please hold that up. Thank you. Islam Zahder is 32 years old from Al-Khalil. He was shot and killed by occupation forces on May 19, 2020 in Al-Khalil, and then they stole his body and buried it in an unknown location. His body has been held hostage by Zionist forces for over 467 days. Next we have Ibrahim Halassan. Ibrahim Halassan in that photo over there was 24 years old when he was killed by occupation forces. He was shot at a checkpoint in the West Bank, and his body has been held hostage for over 494 days. Next we have Omar Abu Layla. Omar Abu Layla right here, thank you, who was 19 years old from Azalea when he was shot and killed by occupation forces on March 20th, 2019. After they shot and killed him, they demolished his family's home the next month. His body has been held hostage by Israel for over 893 days. 893 days. His family has been prevented from burying him. 19 years old.
14 to Poughkeepsie. First stop, Tarrytown. From the upper road track number 33. 514.
We're going to do a mic check because some people can't hear. Mic check! Mic check! Faris Baroud. Faris Baroud. 51 years old. Gaza City. Political prisoner and hunger striker. Spent more than half of his life behind bars. Murdered in 2019 Omar Abu al-Nil, 12 years old, Gaza City, shot by occupation forces on August 21st while taking part in a protest. He died of his wounds 1 week later on August 28th. There are many photos here, many faces, names, and stories, but these are just a fraction. These are just a fraction of the thousands of Palestinians that have been killed by Israel for decades. These are just a fraction of the names and stories of martyrs who have suffered, whose families continue to suffer. So we will continue to fight for them and let them know they are not alone. Free, free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will
Palestine.